Vipina Purandara Navinala Karabara Vipina Purandara Navinala Karabara Vamshivadana Suvacha Vamshivadana Suvacha Vajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Vajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Nanda Godala Rakola Nanda Godala Rakola Vajajana Palana Surakula Nashana Nanda Godala Rakola Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Govinda Madhava Navanita Taskara Sundara Nanda Gopala Sundara Nanda Gopala Yamuna Tata Chara Gopi Vasalahara Yamuna Tata Chara Gopi Vasalahara Rasarasika Kripa Moya Rasarasika Kripa Moya Shirada Balaba Vindavana Natabara Shirada Balaba Vindavana Natabara Bhakti Vinoda Chaya Bhakti Vinoda Chaya Yasamati Nandana Vrajabara Nagara Yasamati Nandana Vrajabara Nagara Gokula Ranjana Kana Gokula Ranjana Kana Jaya Radha Kala Chandi Radha Kala Chandi Radhe Jaya Radha Kala Chandi Radha Kala Chandi Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Bye. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo bhai. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo. Gaura Jaya Radha Kalachandi Radha Kalachandi Radhe Jaya Radha Govinda Radha Govinda Radhe Jaya Jagannath Jaya Jagannath Jaya Baladev Jaya Subhadra Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada. Jaya Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva, Guru Deva, Jaya Guru Deva. Go Premalandi Hari Hari Bo. Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravekacharya Astotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai Jayam Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravekacharya Astotara Sata Shri Srimad His Divine Grace Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Goswami Prabhupada Ki Jai Ananta Koti Vaishnavinda Ki Jai Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai Prem Se Kaho Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Sri Vatsari Gaur Bhaktivinoda Ki Jai Sri Sri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shri Mukunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhana Ki Jai Sri Vrindavan Dham Ki Jai Sri Mayapur Dhama Ki Jai Jamuna Maya Ki Jai Ganga Maya Ki Jai Tulsi Maharani Vrinda Devi Ki Jai Bhakti Devi Ki Jai Grantha Srimad Bhagavatam Ki Jai Yuga Dharma Harinam Sankirtan Yogya Ki Jai Brihamadanga Transcendental Book Distribution Ki Jai Transcendental Prasadam Distribution Ki Jai Go Premanandi Samaveta Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to Sri Sri Guru and Gauranga.
Questi voti sono Chicago degli Oh, ok. Yeah.
जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी गोपी जन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदा नंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी यमुना तीरावनचारी। जयो राधा माधव कुंज विहारी गोपीजन बल्लभ गिरिवर धारी। यशोदानंदन ब्रज जन रंजना यमुना तीरावनचारी। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम Ramo Ramo Hare Hare Jayo Radha Kala Chanji Radha Kala Chanji Radhe Jayo Radha Govinde Radha Govinde Radhe Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Jagannatha Jayo Baladeva Jayo Subhadra Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Hari Bol Hari Bol Nitai Gaura Hari Bol Jayo Jayo Prabhupada 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 Jayo Jayo Prabhupada Jayo Jayo Gurudev 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 Jayo Jayo Gurudev Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Jayo Jayo Shri Chaitanya Jayo Nityananda Jai Advaita Chandra Jayo Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Shri Chaitanya Charitamrit ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai. Jai. Today is very, very auspicious day of Gopashtami, so wish you all a very, very happy Gopashtami. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Namo Om Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swamin Iti Namine Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaura Bhakta Brinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Ramo 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 Hare Hare. Praying at the lotus feet of my spiritual master, our dear Srila Prabhupada, and all the Guru Vargas, may I speak few words in the glorification of our dear Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, none other than Krishna himself. For the pleasure of the Vaishnavas and for my very own purification, Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubevacha Patitanam Pavanevyo Vaishnavevyo Namo Namah. Mukum karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripatamaham bande Shri Gurum Deenataranam Paramananda Madhavam Shri Chaitanya Ishwaram. Kathanchana smrite yasmin dushkaram sukaram bhaved vismrite viparitam syat Shri Chaitanya namami tvam. Things that are very difficult to do become easy to execute if one somehow or the other simply remembers Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but if one does not remember him, even easy things become very difficult. To this Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I offer my respectful obeisances. So we are doing Chaitanya Charitamrit. Last week we did a little bit from the Antya, and it was how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself with his lotus hand, which is mentioned twice, with his lotus hands, gave this Shila, Govardhan Shila, to Raghunath Das Goswami. That was the episode that we discussed last week. It was Govardhan Puja. So we discussed, but even if today is Gopashtami, we're still going to continue with our regular study or reading of Srimad Chaitanya Charitamrita. This is chapter 8, Madhya chapter 8. The chapter named is Talks Between the Lord and Ramananda Rai. As I have been mentioning, that as we all know, this is a very esoteric topic beyond my scope, but I will be just reading, and if there is anything, I would just repeat Srila Prabhupada's, I'll rephrase the Srila Prabhupada's words and try to explain it that way. So we are in, so right now, little story behind that where Mahaprabhu met Ramananda Rai, and they both, as soon as they saw each other, they embraced each other, and then they started glorifying each other back and forth few times, and then they got, Mahaprabhu had an invitation at a Brahmana's place. He had to go, of course, Rai Ramananda had to go to his government job, and the evening they met, and they were waiting for each other to meet. And we had discussed that how a devotee goes to work and other things, his regular duties, but he's so excited to meet his devotee friends. We see even kids, they might go to other school, but when they come back to the devotee friends, they're so happy to see them, So this is the thing that Mahaprabhu is waiting, and then Rai Ramananda shows up and they start talking, and then now Rai Ramanand is explaining things and they're talking, and then Mahaprabhu is saying, talk about Krishna, talk about Krishna. So we'll see how step by step, this is also a wonderful, ladder, like how we have in Bhagavad Gita, yoga ladder, different yogas, karma, jnana, dhyana, and then bhakti. These are the yoga ladders in Bhagavad Gita has been explained. Here, we will see Mahaprabhu himself will be pushing, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu himself will be pushing Rai Ramananda to go ahead and, get more elevated topic, more esoteric topic, and because he knows what's the ultimate goal of life. And every time, till he comes to the ultimate goal of human life, that is prema, the love of Godhead, till Rai Ramananda speaks about it, he will go on saying, this is good, first he will say this is external, and he said go ahead, say something more, say something more. So we will hear, it's a lot on today's, a lot of it is on Varnashram, so we'll try to understand with whatever little knowledge or understanding I have from there, and then we'll discuss a little bit. So it's 8:08, we'll go till 8:25 and see how many verses we can do. This is Madhya 8, verse 55. We would do 57. We did 55 and 56 so that we can read. Okay. I'll read it. Prabhu kohe poro shloka sadhero nirnoy, Rai kohe sadharma charano Vishnu bhakti hoy. Translation purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ordered Ramananda Rai recite a verse from the revealed scripture concerning the ultimate goal of life. Ramananda replied, if one executes the prescribed duties of his social position, he awakens his original Krishna consciousness. Purport. In this connection, Sri Ramanujacharya states in the Vedartha Sangraha that devotional service is naturally very dear to the living entity. Indeed, it is life's goal. This devotional service is supreme knowledge or Krishna consciousness. And it brings detachment from all material activity. In the transcendental position, a living being can perfectly acknowledge the superiority of serving the Supreme Lord. The devotees attain the Supreme Lord only by devotional service. Having such knowledge, one engages in his occupational duty, and that is called Bhakti Yoga. By performing Bhakti Yoga, one can rise to the platform of pure devotional service. A great saint, the father of Srila Vyasadeva, Parashar Muni, has especially mentioned that devotional service to the Lord can ultimately be awakened in human society by the discharge of duties in accordance with the Varnashram system. The Supreme Personality of Godhead instituted Varnashrama Dharma to give human beings a chance to return home back to Godhead. So right now we are talking about Varnashram Dharma, which is like, as per your nature, you act, not necessarily by birth, but we see this wonderful Rishabh, had 100 sons, and one was 9 Navay Yogendra, they become top class yogis, and then we see so many sons became Kshatriya, and like that, and then Bharat Maharaj, it's not that a Kshatriya's son cannot be a yogi or a Brahmana. So we see by guna and karma, whatever their action and their qualities, they choose a particular kind of a profession, occupation, and then that's there. Like Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. Prabhupada will explain a lot, so I need not talk so much on it. But that's the whole concept, like Rai Ramananda is saying, by doing these duties, when we do these duties, we eventually realize what is the goal of life, which is, of course, serving Krishna. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Shri Krishna, who is known in the Bhagavad Gita as the Purushottama, the greatest of all personalities, personally came and declared that the institution of Varnashrama Dharma was founded by him, as stated in Bhagavad Gita 4:13. Chaturvarnyam maya shrishtam guna karma vibhagasha tasya kartaram apimam vidhiya kartam avyayam. Elsewhere in Bhagavad Gita 18:47-46, the Lord says, Swasve shve karmani abhirataha samsiddhim labhate nara swakarma nirataha siddhim yatha vindati tat shrunu yataha prabhritir bhutanam yena sarvam idam tatam swakarmanatam avyarchaya siddhim vindati manavaha. Human society should be divided into 4 divisions: Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, and Shudra. And everyone should always engage in his occupational duty. The Lord says that those engaged in their occupational duty can attain perfection simply by rendering loving devotional service to the Lord while executing their particular duty. Actually, modern ideal of a classless society can be introduced only by Krishna consciousness. Let men perform their occupational duty and let them give their profits to the service of the Lord. In other words, one can attain the perfection of life by discharging one's occupational duty and employing the results in the service of the Lord. This method is confirmed by great personality like Bodhayana, Tanka, Dramida, Guhadeva, Kapardi, and Bharuchi. It is also confirmed by the Vedanta Sutra. So, whatever we have understood, like at least my understanding is you work hard and whatever profit, the salary or whatever you get, the result, you give it to Krishna. Is that Rai Ramananda is also saying that you do your occupational duty, you do your services, the job that you do, and end of the day, whenever, like you give your results, whatever you're getting out of that, that work, that occupational duty, you give it to Krishna. That's what Ramananda Rai is also saying, right? But we will see Mahaprabhu will say something else to it. But that's what Prabhupada so far been explaining in the purport, that you work as per your dharma. Like if you're a Brahmana, act as a Brahmana. If you're a Kshatriya, act as a Kshatriya. We see in Kurukshetra, Arjun wanted to all of a sudden, when he saw Bhishma Dev and his Dronacharya, his guru, his grandfather, his relatives, he all of a sudden wanted to be a sannyasi. He wanted to renounce everything and leave and go. So he was not doing his dharma. By nature, by quality, he is a Kshatriya, he is a fighter. And all of a sudden, if he drops that and tries to be a sannyasi, he will not do justice to either of it. And Bhagavad Gita says that, even if you do your job imperfectly, your particular occupation that has been, by your nature, that is yours, if you try to be somebody else, it's not what you're supposed to do. What is recommended is whatever ashram you are in, whatever order you are in, you do that, even if you are not good at it. That's what Bhagavad Gita says. In fact, twice it's been mentioned by Krishna. And Arjuna wanted to become sannyasi, like leave everything and renunciate. But Krishna says, you cannot do that because you are a Kshatriya. Kshatriya means you have to protect others. The anger that's given to them not for sense gratification. The anger that they have is to protect the other living entities, protect everybody else, not just human being. So that's what a Kshatriya does. And if he says, I will not do it, who will do it? Like our border, like I know, I'm grown up in India. So we have, between Pakistan and India, we have this line, LOC, it's called line of control. And there are so many army people are there. And if they, all of a sudden they say that I'm not going to do it, the entire country, either side, will be in trouble. Well, we will intrude into each other's property and spoil everything. So each country between them, we have these borders and the armies are protecting us, guarding us. And if they say we cannot do it, who will do it? Because that's their nature. Of course, in Kali Yuga, we cannot exactly find what's our nature. We have a little bit of Kshatriya, a little bit of Brahmana and Vaishya and Shudra, everything is there. But we have a predominating nature and we work accordingly. So that's what Rai Ramananda is telling and Prabhupada has been explaining. That's what given, and it's been told by none other than Krishna himself, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Next verse. There are many, many verses, not like Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami is explaining this pastime, and where many other verses from Bhagavad Gita and Srimad Bhagavatam has been recited. 58. Varnashramachara vata purushena parapuman vishnuraradhyate panta nanyat tattosha karanam. Translation. The Supreme Personality of Godhead, Lord Vishnu, is worshipped by the proper execution of prescribed duties in the system of Varna and Ashrama. There is no other way to satisfy the Supreme Personality of Godhead. One must be situated in the institution of the 4 Varnas and Ashramas. So, he is still talking. Who? Rai Ramananda is still favoring the point that, how important Varnashrama is. Of course it is important. And so he is stating verses backing what he said. This is a quotation from the Vishnu Purana 389, as stated by Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur in his Amrita Prabha Bhashya. The purport is that one can realize life's perfection simply by satisfying the Supreme Personality of Godhead. This is also confirmed in Srimad Bhagavatam 1-13. Adha pumbir duja shrishta varnashrama vibhagasa swanushthitasya dharmasya samsaddhir haritoshanam. O best among the twice born, it is therefore concluded that the highest perfection one can achieve by discharging the duties prescribed for one's own occupation according to caste, division, and order of life is to please the personality of Godhead. Before I read the purport further, I was just thinking, as Keshav Maharaj was saying, like Chaitanya Charitamrita has different kind of conversations. One is for the public, like the knowledge of Bhagavad Gita. And then also there is the one that Mahaprabhu gave to the Mayavadis, to the transformational one, where your heart will be changing. The Mayavadis became devotees. And then there is one more where Mahaprabhu gave to Sanatan Goswami and Rupa Goswami, the knowledge how to perform the devotional service. And then also there is a conversation which Mahaprabhu himself relished. So as we read, you understand this is a conversation. So it's like back and forth, like of course Arjuna and Krishna in Bhagavad Gita. It's a conversation. But here what you see is like, I was thinking like, if I have a particular kind of mindset, okay, I understand Krishna consciousness like this, then we will struggle through this chapter, I feel. I personally, that is my understanding, I might be wrong. That if we think, okay, Krishna consciousness means you go, you do everything and you give it to Krishna, and result you give to Krishna, and that's all Krishna consciousness is. If we think that way, it will be very hard to, whatever little we can assimilate from this chapter, it will be still harder for us if we think in a very fixed. So what I was thinking, it's like a flow, it's a conversation. Like you go to a movie, you watch a movie. Whether you like it, you don't like it, you still watch it. And you see what's happening. So we will see how Mahaprabhu is guiding us through. But if in between, if we start, thinking or predicting or speculating, oh, why is Mahaprabhu is saying like that? I'm totally speaking like how my experience is through this chapter. And why Mahaprabhu is saying like this, I thought Krishna consciousness is like that. Why Ramananda is saying like that? Why is he agreeing? So we will just go through it and we see where it is. Of course, we will have discussion if there is any, but I just wanted to put that across. Yeah, thank you. Every man should perform his occupational duty in the light of his particular tendency. According to his ability, one should accept a position in Varnashram's institution. The division of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya and Shudra are natural divisions within society. Indeed, everyone has a prescribed duty according to the Varnashrama Dharma. Those who properly execute their prescribed duties live peacefully and are not disturbed by material conditions. The spiritual orders, Brahmacharya, Grihastha, Vanaprastha and Sannyasa are called ashramas. If one executes his prescribed duty in both the social and spiritual order, the Supreme Personality of Godhead is satisfied. So here it's been mentioned how Krishna is satisfied. Like if one perform their prescribed duty, Krishna is satisfied according to the tendency. So if you do what you are supposed to do, then Krishna will be satisfied. If one neglects his duties, however, he becomes a transgressor and a candidate for a hellish condition. Actually, we see that different people are engaged in different ways. Therefore, there must be divisions according to work. To attain perfection, one must make devotional service the center of life. In this way, one can awaken his natural instincts by work, association, and education. One should accept the Varnashrama division by qualification, not by birth. Unless this system is introduced, human activities cannot be systematically executed. Very simple. There's nothing to feel bad and get sentimental about it. If we see back in India, we feel so bad about like who is Shudra, who is this, who is that. This is a fact and you just accept it. Like who is a man and woman and a child, we accept the fact. So Varnashram, we accept if your tendency is to serve others, you become a Shudra. If your tendency is to study and preach others, we become a Brahmana. If your tendency is to protect and guard and give shelter to others, you become a Kshatriya. Your tendency is to make money, etc., etc., you become a Vaishya. And there is nothing to feel bad and feeling. So if a human society has to work, it has to work properly under Varnashram, as Srila Prabhupada said, and wonderful thing that he said, and he proved by his action that it is not by birth. So a son of a Brahmana need not to be a Brahmana. We see in earlier cantos of first canto, where Ashwathama is being addressed as Brahma Bandhu. Because he did not act like a Brahmana. He went ahead and killed the sons of Pandavas, which was so abominable. So he did not act like a Brahmana. He was a son of a wonderful Brahmana, Dronacharya. But he went ahead and did not act like a Brahmana. So he's not addressed as a Brahmana, he's addressed as a Brahmana Bandhu, who is in the family of a Brahmana but does not act like a Brahmana. So he is a Brahma Bandhu and not a Brahmana. And sometimes Prabhupada will say that Brahmana in the name only, or so-called Brahmana we may say. The Brahmanas are the intellectuals who can understand the Supreme Personality of Godhead. They are always engaged in cultivation of knowledge. It does not matter whether one is born in India or outside India. Those who are naturally very heroic and who tend to rule over others are called Kshatriyas. Those who tend to produce food by agricultural method, protect cows and other animals, and engage in trade are called Vaishyas or merchants. Those who are not sufficiently intelligent to be Brahmanas, Kshatriyas or Vaishyas are required to serve a master and are called Shudras. Thus, everyone can engage in the service of the Lord and awaken his natural Krishna consciousness. If a society does not function according to such natural division, the social order becomes degraded. The conclusion is that the scientific method of Varnashram Dharma should be adopted by the society. So end of it, like as the verse was saying, 1:2:13 of Srimad Bhagavatam, samsiddhir haritoshanam. Whatever activities one is doing, whether it's a Shudra doing some activities or it's a Brahmana doing the activities, whether it is direct or indirect, it has to be for the haritoshanam, for the satisfaction of the Lord, for the pleasure of the Lord. Now Mahaprabhu is saying, and how much time? Okay, I'll go ahead and read two more. प्रभु कहे हो बाहो आगे कहो आर রায়ে কহে কৃষ্ণের কর্মার্পণ সর্বসাধ্য সার. The Lord replied, "This is external. You had better tell me of some other means." Ramananda replied, "To offer the results of one's activities to Krishna is the essence of all perfection." Verse 60. Yat karoshi yad ashnashi yad juhushi dadasi yat tapasyasi konteya tat kurushva madarpanam. Translation. Ramananda Rai continued, my dear son of Kunti. This is from Bhagavad Gita, but Ramananda Rai is continuing with this verse. My dear son of Kunti, Krishna is saying, whatever you do, whatever you eat, whatever you offer in sacrifice, whatever you give in charity, and whatever austerities you perform, all the results of such activities should be offered to me, Krishna, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The Lord has said that the Varnashrama Dharma is not properly executed in the age of Kali. Therefore, he ordered Ramananda Rai to go further into the matter. Ramananda replied with the verse from the Bhagavad Gita 9:27, which instructs that while remaining in the system of Varnashrama Dharma, one may offer the results of his activities to Lord Sri Krishna in loving service. Naturally, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was asking Ramananda Rai about the execution of devotional service. Ramananda Rai first enunciated the principle of Varnashrama Dharma in consideration of materialistic people. However, this conception is not transcendental. So we are getting a little serious. So far we have understood that Varnashrama Dharma, we do everything within this boundary of Varnashrama Dharma according to our tendency, according to our guna and karma. And then whatever we get, we do it for Krishna. Well, you offer it to Krishna, yet that's what the verse Bhagavad Gita is saying. But this is still on the material platform, is what Srila Prabhupada is explaining. These are not off material realm. It's still within the realm of material life. So Mahaprabhu wanted to hear something which is totally transcendental. So he's asking about devotional service. So last line was, the system of Varnashram Dharma refer to the three modes of material nature, but transcendental devotional service is on the absolute platform. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu belongs to the spiritual world, and his methods for propagating the Sankirtan movement are also imported from the spiritual world. Srila Narottam Das Thakur has sung, Golokera Premadhana Harinama Sankirtana Ratina Janmilo Kenotai. This states that the Sankirtan movement has nothing to do with this material world. It is imported from the spiritual world, Goloka Vrindavan. Narottam Das Thakur laments that mundane people do not take this Sankirtan movement seriously. Considering the position of devotional service and Sankirtan movement, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu deemed the system of Varnashram Dharma to be material, although it aims at elevation to the spiritual platform. However, the Sankirtan movement can raise one immediately to the spiritual platform. So basically, as Prabhupada is explaining, that material, you're doing your work and you're offering to Krishna, everything is okay, well and good, but this is not the ultimate thing of human life. A human is much more capable than just doing his duties and offering things to Krishna, offering the results to Krishna, offering sacrifice, charity to Krishna. Human being is much more capable, and that's the love that one can cultivate for Krishna. If we hear Srila Prabhupada's lecture, actually, time and again he said, this Krishna consciousness movement is to institute that love in the heart. I'm just paraphrasing, that it's love that it's a dormant love. It is there. That's why when we come in front of the deities and see them and have their darshan, that emotion comes because it's already dormant. But what Krishna consciousness movement is for, rekindling the love for Krishna. That's all Prabhupada says for when he, I was hearing him last few weeks, and then that's what coming up again and again. Moving on with the verse and the purport. So, Mahaprabhu is, Srila Prabhupada is explaining how Sankirtan movement is transcendental, and one can immediately raise to that transcendental platform by being honest to this Sankirtan movement, and immediately can be elevated. Consequently, it is said that Varnashram Dharma is external, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested Ramananda Rai to proceed deeper into the matter and uncover the spiritual platform. Sometimes materialists consider Lord Vishnu a material conception. Impersonalists think that above Lord Vishnu is the impersonal Brahman. The impersonalists misunderstand the worship of Lord Vishnu. They worship Lord Vishnu to merge into his body. In order, Jai Shri Radha Kalachandji, in that order, Vishnu Aradhana not be misunderstood. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu requested that Sri Ramananda Rai proceed further and clear up the issues. Basically, impersonalism, where we think that Brahman effulgence or the Brahman realization is above the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna or Vishnu, is, as Prabhupada mentions often, is last snare of Maya. So we should not misunderstand the Vishnu Aradhana or worship of Vishnu. Ramananda Rai proceed further and clear up the issues. Ramananda Rai quoted the verse from Bhagavad Gita stating, the results of one's occupational duty may be offered to Lord Vishnu or Krishna. In Srimad Bhagavatam 128, it is said, Dharma swa anushtitaha pumsa vishwaksena kathasuya notpadayat yadi ratim Shamayevahi kevalam. If one executes the occupational duties of Varnashram Dharma but does not cultivate his dormant Krishna consciousness, his activities are futile. His occupation simply becomes unnecessary. So we will hear further. It's already 8:33. So we'll hear further how Mahaprabhu pushes Ramananda Rai to go further and further, and finally come to the point where Rai Ramananda says that prema is the ultimate goal of human life. So we'll pause here with this beautiful verse from Chaitanya Charitamrita, Antya 12.1. Shruyatam shruyatam nityam giyatam giyatam mura chintyatam chintatam bhaktas Chaitanya Charitamrita. O devotees, may the transcendental life and characteristics of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu always be heard, chanted and meditated upon with great happiness. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.
So that, to me, adds a little bit of malice to the equation, that they were intentionally trying to find something that they could use. And I don't know her, I don't care about her, I mean, other than having a normal goodwill for other people. I don't really know how this will play out, and I'm not going to focus on it, but it does bring up this question about things that you did in your past, things that you said, for example, that you wouldn't say now. Isn't it great that God will forgive you, even if the chattering people on social media won't forgive you, even if they're going to make a big deal out of it? Isn't it great that God forgives you? And that's all that really matters ultimately. Which one do I care about? Exactly. You know, who are these mindless people? And they're spending precious time out of their lives making this woman's life miserable because she did some stupid things. And again, this is not to in any way validate or exonerate dumb behavior, but this is a tempest in a teapot. There are far worse and bigger things that people do. And I just want to come back to that. Thank God that he forgives us when we're repentant. If that were not the case, I think everybody would be in a world of hurt. That's why Jesus said, for God so loved the world, that he sent his only son, that whoever should believe in him would not perish but have eternal life. I don't know if London Stallings is Catholic. She might be. But I think it's a cautionary tale. It's a reminder. And furthermore, if I can add one other thought to this, would be that this is a great reminder to always strive to be pure in your speech, always strive to be pure in your thoughts, always strive to treat people with respect. Because if you live a life of trying to do that, then you have less and less, as time goes by, there's less and less, and eventually nothing that you're leaving behind that could come back to haunt you. Maybe there are things in the past, okay? It's in the past. God has forgiven you if you sought his forgiveness. But it becomes easy, I think. It's an incentive to virtue, and it's an incentive to trying to live a well-ordered, gracious, upright life, even if for no other reason, and there are far better reasons than this, but even if for just this reason, and that is you have nothing that you're leaving behind that you'll have to be embarrassed about later. So I think this is a very instructive little situation, and I'm glad I had a chance to bring it up to you. Thanks for playing that audio. I didn't know we had audio, but I'm glad we did. So do me a favor, Cyrus, when you get home, ask your kids, who's London Stallings? I'd be interested in knowing if they have heard of her. And probably it'd be very funny if they said, how do you know who this is? How do you know what's going to happen? Yeah. You can say, yeah. Yeah, how old are you, Dad? How do you know about London Stallings? And what's even funnier about that is the fact that you can tell that they don't listen to the Patrick Madrid show, because you can out them that way by saying, I can tell you don't listen to what I do for a living, kids.
They don't listen to me at home. Why would they listen to me on the radio?
Yeah. What I do that puts bread on the table, the roof over your head, the clothes on your back, it takes work, and you don't even have time to listen to what I do. You can tell. Say, Patrick Madrid is very disappointed. And they'll say, who?
Yeah, right. Yeah. Does he know London Stallings?
Who? Yeah, see, I can play dumb believably when it comes to that. But I don't know. It'd be interesting to see what comes from this, if anything. 888-914. Oh, no, we're doing emails today. That's right. So speaking of emails, let's get to some more of those. We have a big stack, and I know you've got some as well, Cyrus, so we'll get to those as well. This one is from, let's see, I had this one handy. There we go. This is from Jess, and he's referring to a caller on the program recently. He says, in talking with this wife about her and her husband's struggles, is there a resource to know what is sinful to do within the marital act? There is something that she and her husband are wondering about. She said what it was, kind of. I don't need to say it, but she said there's something that she and her husband are wondering about, and she wonders if, in the church's eyes, is this morally permissible? So, Jess, I will just answer in a vague way for obvious reasons. The way to look at this is that within marriage, the couple has the freedom to enjoy the marriage act, the marital embrace. I'm just thinking about the kids. So no kids for the next few minutes, okay, parents? This is not a topic for kids. So please exercise prudence, turn the radio off for a few minutes, or send the kids into another room. And fair warning, pretty safe. So the way to look at this, Jess, is that in marriage, the couple has the right, given by God, to enjoy this good of marriage. And it's a great good. But it doesn't come with unrestricted, license to do anything and everything that might come into your mind. And here are some rules of thumb that will help you know what those things are. Number one, foundational, is you can never do something that is in itself intrinsically sinful, even if you have a good goal. So if something, and I'll give you an example, let's say, and this is not the example that Jess, that you gave me, but let's say it was pornography. Pornography is objectively evil, and it's sinful. So even if somebody gave you bad advice to say, well, it'll spice up your marriage, or well, it will, help with this or that, you would still have to say no, because just doing that in itself, looking at pornography, would be a serious sin. So even though the goal might be good, the means to that goal is evil, so you'd have to say no. So there's an example of where you can say, even within marriage, certain things are not permitted. She mentions in her email, she says that the act is always accomplished in the way that it should be. And so she's wondering about things that come before that, or that happen before that. And so here's another precept from the Church's moral theology. And this is that whatever that is not morally illicit, like pornography, for example, whatever in itself is not immoral, that helps to perfect the act, is permitted. Now, what is that? The word perfect doesn't mean that it makes it the best possible thing that it could possibly be, but rather it has the connotation of completing something in the best way. So whatever things that will help to perfect the act so that it concludes in the best possible way, which is the only way that it should conclude, those things are permitted. And they're permitted to married people, not to unmarried people. And not by yourself. But if you're in that context, the husband and the wife and their intimacy, those things are permitted, those things that are not in themselves sinful, and they help to perfect the act. So that would be the general opinion of most of the moral theologians that I've canvassed. There are a few who would be more rigorous than that and say, in their opinion, they think that certain activities should be off limits, etc. But the vast majority, at least in my canvassing, says that what I just said. And one example, there is a Dominican moral theologian, his last name is Prummer, P-R-U-M-M-E-R. I forget his first name. I don't have this manual of moral theology in the studio, but I have it at home in my library, and I've consulted it many times because it is a standard textbook when it comes to answering questions like this, and many other moral questions besides. And so that would be one, if you wanted to go look it up or purchase a copy of that. Ford and Kelly, two moral theologian priests who did a multi-volume moral theology, actually it's a two-volume moral theology set. They say the same thing. Germain Grisey, John Finnis, some of the more contemporary moral theologians, and they would, in essence, agree on the less rigorous way of looking at that. So I guess I'll leave it at that, but I hope that that gives you sufficient answer to your question so that you can make a determination between the two of you and know that that is something that God has given you as a gift, and you want to be able to glorify Him